Hi everyone. So this is going up either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how I feel and how fast it renders and blah 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 and so forth and so on. We are doing a review of the Castle Art Supplies colored pencils today. The main reason I wanted to review these at first was that these pencils are very similar looking to the Color and the Colore pencils. And if you look at them both side by side with the Color, even though they're different colors, of course, let me adjust the screen so that you can see. There we go. Not great, but it's better. So this says Color Soft Series. This says Castle Art Soft Series. The only difference is in the wood of them. And I've used the green more than I've used the red, but the actual wood part of the pencil looks to be a different tone. So after experiencing actually coloring with all of these pencils, I've determined that more than likely they all use the same manufacturer and get them created the same way, but in terms of pigment, types of wood, and so on, they are vastly different. So don't let that look of them fool you. They are different pencils, and I'm going to explain why I believe that today. Definitely different companies for sure. Before we get started, though, I'm gonna go ahead and pop up this bad boy. We all know what this is, at least anybody who has seen my other reviews. I've done a variety of art supply reviews with colored pencils. I did an Arteza one way back in the day in June, I believe. I did a Colore and Color review last week, and then of course today we're doing Castle Art. I do have some basic disclaimers. These go in the description, so I'm not going to go into detail on them. Feel free to read them at your leisure. But basically, I didn't receive these pencils for a review. They're my own purchases. In fact, I think I've had them since June or July. The prices I talk about are the prices I see on Amazon today at this very moment. That could change depending on where you live. Amazon may even vary it based on what type of customer you are. There's who knows, right? I'll attempt to be consistent with the colors that I'm using, but I can't guarantee they'll be the same. And each of these reviews, I'm going to try very hard to say, not to say this is a bad pencil or a bad whatever. I'm going to list the pros and cons of each, and I will tell you what I recommend and what my thoughts are on them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the right pencil for you. Thus is why I list the pros and cons. That's pretty much it, other than the Amazon link. If it's an Amazon link, I'm an Amazon affiliate. I will get a few cents as like a referral when you purchase something through the links I provide in the description. It does not increase the price of the product, and all of that is actually going to go back into the channel. In fact, I have some ideas about how when I get my first gift card, which should hopefully be next month, and thank you, by the way, for that, because I'm going to sit here and we're going to figure out what to get with that money for the channel. So, anyway, it's not going to be a lot, but I do want the people that visit this channel to get to have kind of a choice in that, because you guys are the ones that basically purchased and did all that, and you've been supportive. So I figure it's fair if there's something y'all want to see in particular, and I'm not just vehemently opposed to it, then, why not, right? Anyway, so now we get to the actual review. I had all these clips of a very long, thorough review, and I realized I had accidentally deleted one of them, which was the color distribution one, and I did not want to have to go through all this again. So this is going to be a little different than my other reviews were last week. It was going to be different anyway, but even more so now. So you get 72 pencils in this set. The 72 set does not have color names, as you could see when I showed you the pencils. There is a 120 set out there that does have color names on it. If I did not have this set, I would have purchased the 120 set, and that should give you just a little bit of a hint how I feel about these pencils. I'm not going to run out and buy them right now, especially because I have plenty of stuff to color with. But if I ever run low on these pencils, because they're not sold open stock, if I'm running low on pencils I use very frequently, I will more than likely purchase another set, and it will be the 120 set. The 72 set currently sells on Amazon for $29.99. Now, they may do lightning deals or something, but that's the regular price as of right now. The 120 set is $37.99, I believe. So it's a pretty good upgrade for just a few more dollars, really. I consider these a mid-range, mid-budget pencil. They're definitely not beginner pencils, but I wouldn't say... I'm kind of torn between, I wouldn't call them artist grade per se, but they're really good if you've had Crayolas and you want to level up to something and you have hand and wrist issues and you don't want to spend the money on Prismas. These would be the pencils I would highly recommend as a mid-range pencil. So you get 72 pencils in this set, the one that doesn't have the names. That's the set I have, and once I get this tin open, they come in a tin. You see the top here. They come in these little plastic trays, of which I have exactly one. These have little notches, but I can tell you right now, I have to wedge down in there to actually get this tray out, and you see how it's bending. I couldn't do that if the actual pencils were in here. So I wish they would put little strips of something here so you could easily just lift out the trays. I don't know how much of an extra cost that would be, but it would be nice, and I'd have no issue with this tin if that was the case. All right. So obviously I'm not storing these in the tin. Instead, I have them in these canning jars with plans to integrate them into my other wax-based softer color pencils. So these will go along with my Prismas and my Black Widows and Artezas. I have 2 jars of them right now, just warm and cool colors set up. If you're wondering what the washi tape is, I'm using some of these for a current project, and I have so many works in progress. I have products scattered all over the place, and I wanted to put these back but be able to designate what they are, so I put a little bit of washi tape on them. And this will probably be how I swatch them too. I have a lot of washi tape. This will be a great use for it. Anything else before I continue on? My brain is scattered. I am scattered today. I am tired. It has been a long few days at work. It's that time of year where everybody wants to get stuff done, so they're out for the rest of the year. And it's everywhere, not just my job. So this is from Flowers for Beginners. It is a Jade Summer book. Let me grab the book and show you. I have been pulling pictures from this book that have this basic layout, which is a vase with flowers, of course, coming out of the vase. And I was doing the same with this one, and lo and behold, I completely forgot which color marker I was using and did this a lot darker, so the flower is going to be our comparison tool here. So what is this? If you saw my Colore So Color review, you'll recognize this. I use a couple different methods to put this down on paper to really kind of test it out. Jade Summer is a very toothy type paper in their, well, there is toothy paper in their books, and it's an Amazon printed book. So it is toothy. It's not, I wouldn't call it high quality paper, but it's very rough paper. Generally, your softer pencils don't do well on toothy paper, but I believe this set is versatile enough that it can, and I'll explain why in a moment. So let's zoom in a little. I'm probably saying so a lot, not even thinking about it. Along with here we have 3 different ways to blend. I use mineral spirits up here that I have in this Copic empty Copic marker. Other than the mineral spirits, there was nothing in it. It was just a plain, just a nothing marker. There was nothing in it. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. So that was that. This was done with a blender pencil, a Prismacolor one. Both of these did okay. The Mineral Spirits one was a little streaky, and this one had a little bit of roughness happen, grittiness, but I'm not going to take away too many points for that. Not that there are points, but you get what I'm saying. I had maybe 3, 4 layers of color tops. If I was going to do that, I'd probably add another layer or two of color just to make sure there was enough to actually push around. This one here is interesting though. This was the one I was doing as a demo in my previous attempt to record this. And I'm telling you right now, barring like just I fall out of my chair and hit my head and go unconscious, and even then it's just going to be quiet for like the next half hour till my husband realizes I'm not talking anymore and comes in here and actually shuts off the computer. I'll tell him, look, actually, I'll tell him after this, I'll say, look, if I get really quiet and the video's still running, be sure to stop that video before, you call 911. Priorities, right? Anyway, this one I had just layered up and I burnished with the lightest color. These were the pencils I used. It's very similar colors to the other pages that I'm going to show you. And if I can get them in camera, and there's one of my project ones right there. And all I did was just lay down the lightest color as a base layer, built my way slowly up between the other two colors, and then at the end I went over it with the peach. I didn't have to press down very hard at all, and I'm actually going to show you this with the leaves this time since, I screwed this up. But anyway, if you look, when I burnished it and the more layers I put on it, that white space that typically shows up with softer pencils just disappeared on me. This honestly is my favorite way to blend with these. I think a blender pencil would do well, but in all honesty, adding layers, you can still achieve that look if you're not a fan of the paper showing through. So that really impressed me. In my opinion, that makes these a little more versatile. So the leaves, I did these two with an alcohol blender, and this one I did half of it with a water-based one. The interesting thing is that the water-based blender actually broke it down a little bit, so I would love to try watercolors. Excuse me, a watercolor or a water brush or a watercolor brush with this to see if it's actually water soluble. Have to try that later on. This one, I went over this with the white pencil in the set just to see if it's opaque or translucent and if it can burnish out the white space. When I talk about white space, you can see that happening here, and that's just because I only had a few layers on this and they were very light layers. It is a very transparent white. It did fill in some of the space and push around the blue, but I probably would have had to add a lot more layers to achieve that look. Now, if you're looking for a white pencil to burnish and not change the look very much or make it super pastel-y, this would actually be a good white pencil choice. This is marker underneath with the purple colored pencil overlay. It's a little different purple than some of the others, but I did the best I could. This looks actually smoother to me than even the Prismacolors do, so I would like to try this more with the marker underneath. And finally, this is just straight coloring with this light blue color, the same one I used here. I'm straight coloring, I'm not even pressing down that hard. It's pretty interesting. So let's try one of these leaves here so I can show you how these actually work. And you'll get, for those of you that haven't seen me color with colored pencils, you can kind of see how I roll with them. So here I'm using a very light initial layer of the lightest color, and I'm laying it down across the entire petal. See, I was saying leaves in the previous one when I was coloring the flowers instead of petals, and so now I'm saying petals. I don't know. My brain is broken, apparently. So there is that lightest layer, and you can already see some color showing up. I was barely running this across the paper. These are soft. They say soft series, and they mean business when they say soft series, because these are, in my opinion, the softest mid-market colored pencils I've come across myself personally. Actually, we're going to start with the darkest and work our way in. So again, I'm just going to put a very light layer down. We're going to go from light to dark on the edges like we did up here. I don't know why I like that look better, but I do. Especially with leaves. I feel like it makes it a little different and makes it stand out a little bit. So we're going to do that. Nope, mid color. What's funny, and I'll show you this in a minute after we get done with this little demo part here and move on to the other demo on the different quality coloring paper. I was doing a page in World of Flowers, and I thought I'm just gonna test out all different types of colored pencils on this, and I started off with Crayola, and I got like a couple flowers colored, and they blended. They weren't super vibrant, but it looked it had a beautiful pastel soft look to it, and my hand was killing me. I hadn't really been pressing down that hard at all, and I was super frustrated. I was ready to just say screw it for the night. But then I thought about these, and I grabbed them, and I liked them so much that I went back over the Crayola with these, which I was able to do surprisingly. And yeah, that whole front title page is just going to be done in Castle Arts because I was that happy with them. Now I do own Prismacolors, and I like them very much. I have carpal tunnel in my hands, my wrists, and I have a lot of tendonitis issues with my back. So the softer the pencil, the easier, the longer I can color with it, basically. And where are we at? Our third layer, I think? Yeah, I'm going to do one more. And you see, I'm barely putting any pressure. I wouldn't even call this a medium pressure. This is between a no pressure and medium pressure. So, and you see how much color I'm getting out of these. So we're going to do one more of these, and I'm not putting down as many layers of the light because I know at the end that's what I'm going to go over with. So we're going to go ahead and finally press down a little more. Again, I consider this medium pressure. These I can do 4 or 5 layers in about the same time as it would take me 3 layers to do in like a Crayola or a harder color pencil. I don't know why these for me move a lot quicker than those types of pencils do. Yet another benefit for using them. So I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is some white showing through, but it's not as much as you would expect. And that's what I was talking about up there, is that as you continue to layer and put even just medium to somewhat hard pressure down, if you're layering, you're going to cover up that white space. Okay, so we're going to go down with this color in kind of a medium to hard pressure, and we're just going to work our way in, and we're basically burnishing it. But in all honesty, I'm going over this so softly that I think I could go back over it if I wanted to. I don't have really time to try that right now, aka I'm lazy and I don't feel like trying it right now. But there are a lot of things I want to try with these pencils that is not going to be covered here. My best idea, and the one I really want to try, is mixing these with Prismas and seeing what happens. And with Artezas and Black Widows, I think I would get some really cool results, and it would also increase the amount of colors I have to choose from. So, like I said, this isn't even, I wouldn't even call this a hard pressure. And you can see how well it's blending. I mean, there's hardly any white space right there at all. I could probably go back over and get rid of it entirely if I wanted to, but that little bit just doesn't bother me at all. Prismacolors are the same way. It's with this type of paper, the harder the pencil for the tougher paper. The tougher the paper, the harder the pencil you should use, basically. Because the softer ones are going to have to be worked with a lot more to cover up the actual paper if that's something that just really bugs you. It doesn't bug me so much anymore, but every now and then, not that I use, or you can use markers underneath, which is also a really popular option and something I like doing. But as you can see, I got a really nice blend, and I wasn't even using hard pressure. Not for me, hard pressure. I mean, like I said, I could easily go back over these, and I don't think it would cause any issues. Nope. That covers up really any remaining white space there is, other than the stuff I'm just not paying much attention to. Straight coloring's even the same way. If you go over it enough, you can cover up the white space. So let me show you this. Let me sharpen this actually. Now, these do burn down quickly. A good sign of a soft pencil is that one you have to sharpen frequently. But I'm not sure. I would like to see these compared to a Prismacolor. I still think these would last a little longer. The problem, however, is that these are not open stock. So if you run out of a pencil, you may luck up in that they have other similar colors to that. But if you run out of like a half dozen or a dozen pencils that you use on a frequent basis, you're going to want to buy another set. And that's one of the biggest cons that I've seen so far, at least what, in my opinion, it is. So, all right, nice sharp point. And here we go. I had to miss a dinner tonight that my husband and I were supposed to go to. I wasn't feeling great today, and it's just, yeah. So I've already said I'm going to do this review. I'm going to work for a little bit. I have a couple items I still need to take care of, and then I'm going to go in the living room and sit and color and play video games and enjoy the rest of my evening nesting on the couch, because I need an evening of nesting on the couch. I need about 5 evenings of that. I still have energy and I'm still okay with that, but it's just mentally I need that time, and it's been building up over the weeks. Now look at this. I'm using just straight color. I'm not pushing down really hard at all. This is a medium. If you did rated pressures 1 to 10, this would be like a 7 or an 8 for me, instead of like a super hard burnishing pressure at 10. And look how much white space it covers up. These are pencils that you could straight color with, and they're beautiful, vibrant colors. You could blend with and use layers, and they have good, vibrant colors. These are just versatile colored pencils. They can be used in a lot of ways over marker. I mean, just about anything you want to try to do with these, you can get gorgeous results. Now, let's compare these to the other pages that I colored that were like these as well. I did manage to finish my So Color one. Let me back up the camera a bit. And let me grab something to drink. So I did manage to finish the So Color one. I do need to finish the Colore one before those pencils go find a home and get a lot more love and attention than they're going to get from me. This turned out pretty darn beautiful in my opinion with the So Color. They have really good vibrant color. I'll say that for them. And when you look at it compared to the Castle Art, I mean, in terms of color, they're very comparable. And I wouldn't even say Castle Art is more vibrant. I would say they're probably about the same. But where the real difference comes in is with the laydown. With the So Color, I would call them, so Castle Arts are right, again, if you were rating hard pencils as 1 and 10 as soft, the Castle Arts are probably a 6 or a 7. These So Colors are probably a 4. So they're softer than Crayolas, but they're just not all that soft. They would be good for bunches and bunches of layers if that's kind of your thing. But if I had them, I'd probably use them a lot as a marker overlay. But again, Vibrancy, they were very comparable. The laydown of the layers, though, was so much easier for me, and for, again, somebody with hand and wrist issues, that just makes a world of difference for me. But it's kind of like the whole argument between Prismacolor and Faber-Castell, and I like both, the polychromos ones. I like both, but the Faber-Castell ones, a lot of people like them because you can just layer and layer and layer with them, which you can do that with Prismacolors too, but with Prismacolors, I find that more people with hand and wrist issues use those because, of course, you can get a lot more mileage out of them without them hurting your hands. And the Polychromos are a little bit harder pencils. So this is a very similar comparison, in my opinion, in a mid-range. I'm going to finish the Colore picture this week before those go off, as I said before. Vibrancy, I would say the Castle Arts definitely are way more vibrant overall in colors than the Colore. The Colore, whatever. Anyway, the blue is similar in vibrancy when you go to the straight color, but if you look at the pinks and the peaches, the Colore pencils, gosh, I'll be glad to see those pencils go just because I can't pronounce the damn things. But anyway, these look a little more washed out compared to these. I mean, just the vibrancy of those are way more obvious. So these do really well as, and again, these are probably on the So Color level in terms of the hardness of the pencil. And that comes back down to the whole, this is a whole lot easier on my hands than this is. I can color on this picture a lot longer than I can this one. So there's that one. We have two more to compare to before we move to the other different coloring books. Here's Crayola, which on the list, and this is not the blend and shade set, this is a student grade, which would be 1 on that hardness scale. Like, they are the hardest pencil I've come across. No, I take that back. They're a 2 or a 3. I've come across harder colored pencils. Hard to believe. Ha ha. But, sorry. It's not even 8 o'clock. Man, oh man. Anyway, you get a lot more vibrancy in the pinks, your pinks and your peaches over here, and for the effort I had to put in to try to burnish and blend these, you can see it kind of washed out the line art with it. It didn't do that here, which is appealing to me because I like having good strong line art. But if you like the thinner, more grayish line art, then that's probably not going to be an issue for you. The greens are about the same, honestly, in terms of colors. The blue, the white Crayola pencil is more opaque, which is appealing to some people who want that, kind of pastel color to it. And that's something to keep in mind. That's something a lot of people like about the Prismacolor white pencil. It's very opaque and it covers up a lot more. The Crayola pencil does the same. White pencil does the same. And then with a straight color, you get a vibrant color. But man, oh man, the difference in softness. I could color these 3 flowers and my hands would be hurting. I could color the same amount on here and it's fine. Like, I could color this first and go to this and it will just disappear. My hand and wrist pain won't get any worse. Finally, let's put them up against Prismas and Artezas. I put them both on here because I was worried about running out of pictures. And I wanted to actually use the Amazon printed paper. This is Prismacolor. Again, you can just layer and layer and layer, but the problem is you do get a really waxy look to it. Wax bloom is something that a lot of people are concerned about. Actually, if I had a tissue, I could probably take care of that right now with this because I can see that happening with this one. Arteza was the leaf right here. The Artezas, the color in these is very similar. I would say they're pretty close together in terms of vibrancy. The purple Prismacolor was used down here. I would say you get more of a textured effect with the Prisma pencil over the marker than you would the Castle Art ones. The blues up here, your white, of course, is more opaque, and this is what I was talking about a little while ago. You get more of a pastel look with that. With your straight color, this is the Artezas. You can see the vibrancy is just almost the same. I would say the Castle Arts feel softer to me than the Artezas, but it's close. It's very, very close. So, there are those. Now we move on to the other part of this, which I said was kind of unusual. I have used the Castle Art pencils quite a bit in actual coloring instead of just running demos with them like I have some of the others. Back in June, I colored this, which is from Color Me Stress Free. I just straight colored. It was the first time I had opened the case, and I was very impressed by the vibrancy of the colors. They really are a soft series pencil because they were soft, and I was able to get this color through less effort than I would in a Crayola or a So Color pencil. So I was very impressed by them with that, and I enjoyed using them. I'm starting to run a test in cats where I'm trying a bunch of different pencils on a test page like I was talking about earlier, and that would be this page. And as you can see, there are a whole lot of pink and purple cats. I did sets of 3 with the different brands I've tried so far for just reference purposes. There's a pink, a purpley pink, and then just flat out purple. Just for reference reasons. This is Faber-Castell, Shuttle Art. These are Prismacolor, so you can see those really pop vibrancy-wise. Black Widows are very similar. These are the Artezas, again, very vibrant. Guanghui, I believe is how you pronounce these. These are the Fila pencils, which are very similar to the Castle Art, in my opinion. And then finally, the Castle Art pencils. And you can see they're vibrant here as well. I think they perform even better on higher quality paper because this is extremely smooth, fairly thick paper. So this is definitely a good quality paper, and honestly I think the Castle Arts perform even better on the higher quality paper books. Anamorphia, which is the test one I've been using for this series. I've been coloring these flowers in all different brands, and I'm going to zoom in on this one so you can see. And just leaving little sticky notes so I can remember what's what. I colored these in the Castle Art and then the ones over here. Now these are interesting. I didn't even see, they're a little bit shiny. They are definitely wax pencils. There, that's better. So instead of just doing a layer blend here, I just started with the darkest color and I worked my way down to the lightest. And I just went ahead and straight colored. Then I would blend from one color to another. And honestly, I think the results are even prettier when I've done that. I'm going to try that in the other book I'm going to show you here in a minute. But when you look at them compared to the others, these were Artezas. Then down here we have So Color, which is this one here. Vibrancy, they're very close with So Colors, and I'll give So Color credit for that. If it was between So Color and Colore, whatever, I would pick the So Color, not just because I can pronounce her name either, but if I had to choose between that and Castle Art, there would be no contest. It'd be Castle Art for sure. Crayola's here, not quite as vibrant a color. You got these here again, more vibrant than a Crayola, but not by much. And then of course over here you have your rich Prismacolor here. This is the black pencil that is in this series, and it is, I mean, I'm not going to hold like a value color wheel up to it or anything, but if you're looking for a pretty solid, black color, this is a good one. So there we go. Just have to keep, of course, working at it. I'm hoping that this whole page can be done with a whole bunch of tests, like the cat page I just showed you. I'm pretty excited about that. That's actually the first picture I've been coloring in that book. I know, right? Like, that's just kind of funny. Alright, where did my other book go? I had hidden it. There it is. So the one we're going to actually color in, since I've already kind of done the demo I was going to do in the other book, I wanted to color in here, and I wanted it to not be the tutorial that I was working on. So I decided I was going to do the title page. Let me back up here. Whoop. So as I said, I started out using Crayolas, and I was going to do the same thing, different brands all over the page. And I did this flower and this flower in Crayola, and they had kind of a soft pastel color to them, and they were beautiful, and I really liked them. But man, just coloring these two with layers, even soft layers like that, my hands were killing me. So then I picked up the Castle Arts and I started coloring with them with the yellow. And let me see if I can find the trio I was using for that. Yep, there they are. This is the trio of yellows and yellow oranges I was using for the yellow flowers. Well, it would help if I showed you the actual colors. There you go. And I colored this flower down here. And the difference, I mean, my hand just stopped hurting right in the middle of using the Castle Arts. And so I said, oh no, we're just doing this whole page in Castle Art. So all four of the yellow flowers and the pink one have been covered in Castle Art. These two, I went over the Crayola that was there, and I still got a vibrant color. And fortunately, I hadn't burnished enough on the Crayola to make a big difference and make it look all grainy. So that's a nice bonus there. If you wanted to go over something because you weren't happy with it, the Castle Art pencils might be pretty good for that too. So anyway, what we're going to do is just use the pinks. And let me go find the other two that are a part of this series, which I'm not really happy. I honestly would prefer using the series that I had in the first book. So that is exactly what we're going to do. There you go. See, you can change it up. It's your book. Of course, I gotta start them sharp because y'all gonna throw a fit if I start pushing away with dull pencils. Heaven forbid, right? Well, this one is going to run kind of long, but that's alright. I want to show you guys what this is actually like when you're laying down color. So we're going to probably pick these bigger flowers to color. And let me bring the camera down just a hair. Whee! Now we're losing our light. Hang on. I'll fix it. There we go. I'm going to focus on this one here. The little bitty tendril things, I'm going to come back with a Posca pen or something later, so I'm not too worried about those. I'm not going to color around each individual one. That's just not my style. The middle of these pencils, by the way, the middle of these flowers, actually we're going to do something different here. I said that, didn't I? No, let's do this one first because I want to show you how they layer. So I'm going out with my initial light layer and I'm barely touching the paper with it. And again, you're already getting a nice soft color. For those of you that like coloring more pastel colors, this is a great way to quickly get that color down. Because these work very fast for me. And like I said, one of my biggest things I want to try next is seeing how they work with Prismacolors, because I think they're going to work well with each other, and that's going to just open up a whole new world of color possibilities. So we did that. Now we're going to go in with this middle pink again. Not really paying too much attention because not every petal is going to be uniform anyway in a real flower. Not that I'm worried that these are going to be natural looking, but I'm also not trying to sit here for 2 hours coloring one flower. Not today. Actually, after this, I might just grab my markers. I've really been into colored pencils here lately, and I'm still not sure why. So again, just I can even pull back here and show you. These are very good in terms of vibrancy and softness. And as you can see, they perform just as well here as they do in a Jade Summer book. And in Kirby Rosanas even. I know I went completely backwards on those, but that's okay. So like even with that initial layer, you see how soft that went down. Now I'm going to go back with this one because I went backwards on that. We're going to go in with a little bit firmer hand. So I hope everyone else is having a good start to their week. I will say though, the live stream that wasn't intended to be a live stream last night, like I said, the higher powers that be must have really known I needed that, because that helped immensely last night to help me de-stress. So thank you for that. That probably means I should do another one today, but man, y'all, I just ain't got the socialness in me right now. Y'all got like 5 hours of me on video yesterday in total, and even I'm tired of hearing myself talk. And I'm surprised my husband's not clutching his heart in shock over that statement. Because I'm sure if anybody loves to hear my voice, it's gonna be me. Yes, Winry. Yes, Winry. Ah! Okay, well, she just climbed up the chair and my back. I have a parrot cat now. Sweetie, Oreo's got the cat bed, so I'm not kicking him out. And you kind of lost that one. It's a daily battle for them to get in that cat bed that's right next to me. Apparently that is the coveted spot. And now she's really confused because she wants to get in my way. And now she's up on top of my shoulder. I'm waiting for her to accidentally hit something. She better not delete the video. Alright, please don't. Alright, get down. Not right now. We won't be running this too much longer, and then I'll go give her adequate pets. Though I'm sure she'll jump up here about 4 or 5 more times, so. She's been really needy lately, and I'm not sure why. I've still been giving her the same amount of attention I always do. I think they're finally getting used to getting in an actual routine, and now all of a sudden it's like kicking up a bunch of territorial concerns. So maybe that's what it is. She's just... Usually I would sit here and do this with individual petals, but to kind of cut down on going over the line art too much, but not today. This is a work on a little bit at a time kind of page. I will work on it for a little bit and see. Up to this point, if I had been using Crayola, my wrist would have already started hurting. I would have had to use a lot more pressure than this, and my wrist would really be hurting. So what do we have? 2 here? 2 layers. Let's go 3. So again, this is right here a medium pressure. I don't know. I might just leave the little long petal things. I might just leave them this color. I'm not quite sure yet. Just whatever, I guess, strikes my fancy when I get to that point. I'm not worrying about the outer part, edges of the flower just yet. I'll come back and do those later. Probably use a combination of this and the peach, as they're just barely peeking out there. So I'm just doing some circles to kind of break up the line that I'm starting to see form, because I'm going across the petals like this. There we go. Something tells me I could get away with fewer layers on this, and we might try that, maybe. And then the other flower I will show you quickly will be one that we do like, it's just for blending. I just put down 1 layer, and it's going to be a more pressure layer, and then we're just going to blend it that way. 2 and see how that works. Here she is for round 2. No, please don't crawl up my back again. That was not pleasant. She has lost weight, but now we're going to do a 4th layer. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. And I just about dropped a pencil trying to keep her from jumping onto my back. This is turning into a battle of wills. She is stubborn. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And I mean, it's been getting better. Throughout the day, she'll come by like this, and I'll let her hop up in my lap, and I'll sit there and just pet on her for a while. She will not lay in my lap, though. She's never been a lap cat, and even jumping up and just standing in my lap is significant for her. So I try to give her attention because I know she really needs it if she's willing to do that. But I also wish she would just kind of lay down like Maggie does. And she won't do it. It's kind of frustrating, not gonna lie. Alright, so we're gonna go out with the pink here one more time, like this, right now, this layer. And then we're gonna go over all of it with the peach color. So the only other page I'm coloring in here is a tutorial that I'm following for Peter Hewitt. And using my polychromos more. I'm trying to give them a little more love, but again, as they are a harder pencil, I have to do that in very short bursts. They're not as hard as Crayolas. I can definitely color for, say, like an hour with them. But even with light layers, eventually it starts setting in and I just have to take a break. I mean, that's any pencil. It's just the length of time shifts out. So with these or Prismacolors, I could probably color for an hour and a half. But when it comes to like Crayola's, 30 minutes and I've got to stop, if not before. Okay, so what we're gonna do is come in with the really dark peach and then lay over the other. Now, I didn't make this one quite as vibrant as I did the one in the Jade Summer book, but that's okay. I want different levels of vibrancy in this picture. I'm starting to embrace the more pink pastel-y colors and that kind of coloring. As I've been on a colored pencil kick lately, I've also been on a kick of doing that as well. Just warmer colors. Generally, I stick to cool colors, but here lately, like last night, the page that I colored in that Cats, Kittens, and Wildcats, I believe is what it's called, I used warm tones in that too. I'm just drawn to them now all of a sudden for some reason. Not sure why, but nothing wrong with that. There we go. So this is not even a hard pressure. Like I said, this is probably about a 7 or 8 out of 10. I've got a death grip on it, but I always have death grips on my pencils. I have to stop and make myself go back on the pencil, especially with the initial layers, because I know I will start pressing down harder without realizing it. So, you see how these are doing? They're really pretty. These turned out very nice. The other side, I used a different set of like the light and dark tones, and while it's pretty, I didn't really like how it turned out. So once I saw this set, I'm like, that's what I was looking for, was that one. So now we have it. And this peach tone is making like these others pop out even more. Instead of pushing that color back, it's almost making them stand out even more, which is really cool. I like that vibrancy like that, where you can go over something and you can actually see it brighten, when with other pencils it might kind of start looking washed out. So I know I need to sharpen this, but I'm so close to being done with this section. just trying to go a little faster. I probably wouldn't go this fast in my own time. I would probably do another softer layer or two before I did this. But I also wanted to show, even with just a few layers, well, 3 or 4 in this case, you can still get good results. 3 or 4 layers is usually my norm in terms of my patience level. It's about all I can take at once, so the fact that I'm willing to put more layers down for this one is like a really good sign for me. So isn't that pretty? I really love how that turned out. Alright, so the very last thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a flower. Trying to pick which one, because I want to do that one as a bigger flower. This one here, we're going to make pink. And this time, I'm just going to put one solid layer of each color down and blend them as I move out from the flower, and we're going to see what happens there. And I'm going to sharpen up my pencils so we are ready to go. I need to take the washi tape off the other two and put them on these so that I know what project they're attached to. Now the problem with using the washi tape for swatching is then I'm not going to know. I'm going to have to write down which washi tape. Like, I'll use different ones for these, and then I'll just have to write down which washi tape I use. Kind of like if you wrote down names or numbers of pencils you're using in a project. So, a little bit more. I'm just using a dollar store sharpener on these, and they're doing fine. As you can tell, there hasn't been any breakage, any issues like that. They are definitely solid pencils. Okay. So again, I'm not paying attention to these little things. In fact, I may even, all the centers of the other flowers were done with gel pens, and that may very well be what I do here. So I just don't want to take the time nor the effort to really go around them. That's annoying. And the last thing I want coloring to be for me is annoying. So I'm trying to at least lift the pencil up, because if I do that and kind of color them randomly, usually I can get a little more of a variety of where the colors stop. If I actually pick the pencil up instead of creating a line when I'm, sorry, pen knocked over and I was like, is that a ghost cat? No, it was just rolled off the top of the desk. Whoop. I have to go back in there with the eraser, which would be a good way to show y'all how these erase. Now, I'm pressing down pretty hard. I don't anticipate this. Hang on, let me make sure it's clean. I don't anticipate this to remove it entirely, but it does a good job. Look at that. I actually didn't expect it to erase that much, so that's good. Very good. Very good for someone like me, that's for sure. I certainly have plenty of areas I'm going to need to erase as I'm doing these. Alright, so now I'm just going in with the lightest, or not the lightest, the mid pink color. And again, just one initial blending color layer down. Blending layer, whatever. Whatever we call these, I don't know. Somebody in the comments will have it, so. We're just doing one straight color kind of layer, but we are using 3 different colors to create a blend. So in all that complicated explanation, there's got to be an easier way to say it, but I guess just calling it blending instead of layering is probably the way to go. Though I learned last night while watching other videos that, and I'm one of those people that gets layering and blending confused, so that is why I discussed the difference here. Okay, so we did that. Now we're going in with the peach on the very edges, and then we're going to blend in a little bit as we go. Definitely good at covering up the white space, which on a smoother paper you're less likely going to have that issue anyway. Sometimes it's not the pencil, it's the paper. You gotta find the combinations that work for you, that you like. That's why I wound up in the boat of a sea of in a sea of colored pencils, because I like a bunch of different types of coloring books, and I found that, certain colored pencils work well in one, but they may not as much in the other, and next thing you know, I'm up to my ears in colored pencils. That and Amazon. I blame Amazon. Blame Amazon for a lot of my purchases. They don't care. They'll just take my money and be like, we'll see you next Prime Day or next Black Friday or next Valentine's Day. I don't know. It's just whenever, if they got a lightning deal on something that I love, then a lot of times, especially if it's not open stock, I tend to want to pick it up just to have duplicates. Like if the 120 set was on a lightning deal, I would go ahead and pick that up. I am blowing when I'm doing this because excuse me. I don't know why my voice got weird all of a sudden. These do create a little bit of dust, but they are softer pencils, so I can't say I'm surprised with that. Now these I am actually probably throwing down some hard pressure on. Just to see. I mean, I don't think I could do this for all of them, but I figured for this one it'd be a worthy test. So there's that too, and when you look at the two, let me back it up a little. When you look at the two, you definitely get more vibrancy with just putting down the blended layers like that. But I wouldn't go as hard a pressure as I did. You may wind up with a little bit of white space or streaking, so I'd be a little more cautious with that. At that point, I was working so quickly that I wonder if even going over this other stuff with the peach would brighten it up more. I don't even know if it's noticeable. Let's go ahead and do that though, just so we can stay consistent between this and the Kirby Rosana's book, which I would say has very similar paper. This might actually be better quality, but it's not by much. And I may be totally wrong about that. I am not a paper snob by any stretch of the imagination. I have no idea. If it's paper and I like the pictures are pretty, I'm going to color in it. So that's just pretty much explains me there in a nutshell. Yeah, I brightened it up a bit, I think, or I'm just telling myself that. Anyway, take a look at that. I really kind of like this better. I'm going to do a combination of them here, though, because I don't want all of them to be huge pops of color like this. I want a variety. And this one over here, I did vary the color slightly. I may still hold on to them and then just do different versions of it. But anyway, so what do I think about these pencils? Not this book. This book is wonderful, but what do I think of these pencils? I have to say they certainly exceeded my expectations. I was expecting a So Color or, a pencil that wasn't super hard like Crayola, but really wasn't a soft pencil, even though it's called a soft series pencil. And I really exceeded my expectations. I was pleasantly surprised. I really like these pencils. They will be going with my majorly beloved set of medium to high quality pencils, which will be these Arteza, Black Widows, and Prismacolors together. And I'm excited to put them through some more test runs with the other pencils to see how they do. I think they will all perform very well together, and that will give me a way bigger variety of color choices. I'm not in any rush to get the 120 set, even though I desperately would love to have names on these pencils. It would be nice, but I like these so much I'd rather use them. And when I get to a point where like I said, a half dozen to a dozen of them, and I'm having trouble finding matching colors to what I was looking for, then I might consider it. And with the $8 difference between the two sets, that's a really good deal. So if you have about $30 to spend, you're looking for a good mid-range pencil that gives good vibrant color and is soft and easier on your hands and your wrist, this is the one I would recommend. I would say they're even softer than Arteza's. And like I said, Black Widows I would consider a higher price set because you buy 3 sets separately, you're looking at not quite $60, but basically in the $50 to $60 range. And for me, that's considered a high price product. So with these, you get 72 at the $30. I think out of the mid range sets, these are the ones that I would recommend. And I'm so happy to have them, and you'll be seeing me color with a lot of these. No giving away. These are mine. Mine. I'm keeping these. I will find room for them. I will, I promise. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the review. If you have any experiences with these or you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. Hopefully this helps during the holiday season. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.